This is a powerful demon. She had ugly 2 horns and terrible feathers, but her heart is incomparably pure and good. Under her guardianship, the forest grows more and more vibrant, and all kinds of elves and live freely and freely, without fear of any threat or harm, until 3 magic fairies suddenly brought the bad news that a human thief had broken in. The girl rushed over and stopped the tree warriors from attacking. With her persuasion, the human thief also came forward, and it turned out to be just a little boy. After returning the stolen gems, the girl sent him away from the forest. On the way, they also exchanged names. The girl's name is Marlene. The boy's name is Kwi. When it was time to part, he extended his hand to apologize. But as soon as he touched it, Marlene instantly withdrew her hand, and the boy learned that his iron ring could harm her. He did not hesitate for a moment. He threw his father's relics out with force. What he didn't expect was that his behavior has touched Marlene's heart. So, a small thief who intended to steal a gem accidentally stole 100 times more valuable than the gems. In a few days, he came again. Marlene took him into the forest and they played together happily. They shared their experiences together. The two soon became the best of friends, and then this friendship, as they grew older, and slowly developed into another kind of relationship. On the day Marlene turned 16, P gave a gift. It was their first kiss, but after that day, everything changed. P came to the forest less and less often, and he entered the king's palace to serve, and became obsessed with power, and Marlene, as the most powerful elf in the forest, also took up the important task of guarding the forest. Although she misses P from time to time, but she also knows humans have an irreconcilable hatred of elves, until one day, the human king, in order to unify the world, led an army to attack the forest, but they obviously had no idea what they were about to face. At the call of Marlene, first came the giant jungle guards, then came boars on boars, with spears, tree warriors, plus a tree dragon awakened from its slumber, but the difference in power was so great that the humans were soon beaten and fled. In the king's palace, the dying king decreed that whoever can kill Marlene would inherit the throne. So, after a lapse of 9 years, he went into the forest again, and met Marlene. This night, they talked about many things. The strangeness and separation between them soon disappeared. In Marlene's heart, he is still the same. She was still the same little boy who had brought her so much emotion and laughter, so she drank the water Kwi handed her. Unguardedly, she drank the water Kwi offered her and passed out. He takes out his dagger and tries to kill Marlene, but hesitated to do so. But thinking of the king's promise, he finally had the heart to. He cut off Marlene's wings. He sent the wings to the king, and he succeeded in becoming the king, and Marlene woke up from her coma, and felt the pain in her back. She let out a wail of despair. She was a powerful demon, but had her wings cut off by the man she loved. Marlene felt desperate and, in order to control the balance, she turned a piece of wood into a magic wand to find Kwi and find out what really happened that night. Marlene rescued a crow trapped by a farmer and turned it into a human. Although the crow did not appreciate it, constantly complained that Marlene turned himself into an ugly human, but she agreed to be her wings. With the help of the crow, Marlene finally learns the truth. He married the king's daughter and became the next king, and it was all in exchange for her wings. Marlene was furious. After destroying all traces of his legacy with her own hands, she went to the heart of the forest and found all the elves. She was able to determine the identity of the queen, and that was just the beginning of her revenge. He and the queen soon give birth to a princess. At the celebration ceremony, the 3 magic fairies sent magic blessings. Just when everyone was in the midst of joy, a gust of wind, Marlene came and she drove away the magic fairies. In spite of Kwi's threats, she cast the strongest spell. The princess would become beautiful and smart, loved by all, but before she turns 16, she will be pricked by a spindle on a loom. She will fall into a deathly slumber, and the only thing that can wake her up is the kiss of true love. This curse will last until the end of time. No power can change it. Thus ended the ceremony. P immediately ordered all the looms in the country to be burned and thrown into the deepest dungeon of the castle. Then he secretly found 3 magic fairies. They took the princess away and find a place off the beaten track. She was raised for 16 years and 1 day. After ensuring the safety of the princess, he ordered all the soldiers to track down Marlene again. And, to get her back, Marlene went back and cast a spell directly in the forest around the wall of thorns, and P sent the army can only return to the castle. Everything seemed to return to peace. The magic fairies also found a nice place at the edge of the forest, but what they didn't know was that Marlene had been silently watching the princess.
It's so ugly, you could almost feel sorry for it.
Not only was the princess not afraid, she even smiled innocently. Marlene, buried in the heart of the warmth, was thus awakened. For the rest of the day, she kept a secret watch over the princess. She saw the magic fairy feeding a newborn baby with carrots. Even the crows sighed helplessly. Marlene was forced to take on the task of caring for the princess. She ordered the ravens to bring her fresh fruit and, rocking the bed to put the princess to sleep, watching her fall off a cliff because she was chasing a butterfly. Marlene did not care on the surface, but at the last minute cast a spell. The princess was saved by a cane. In this way, Marlene has been silently watching over the princess in the dark, until one day, they finally met. 1 second, Marlene told the princess to go away with disgust. However, the next second she was and so it was, under the persecution of the magic fairy, and Marlene's care, the princess grew up to be a beautiful and intelligent young girl, and Marlene seemed to think of her as her own daughter. So when the princess was about to turn 16, brought her into the forest for the appearance of the princess. The elves not only did not fear in the slightest, but also attracted by her pure heart, and the grown-up princess, and finally saw Marlene again, although she looked a little scary, but she knew that the person in front of her had always been silent care of herself, so she called Marlene her fairy mother. Once again, Marlene was touched, seeing her and the elves playing happily together. Marlene also unconsciously joined in and she felt the joy. She made a decision. One night, late at night, she sneaked into the princess's room. However, despite releasing all her magic powers, she was still unable to lift the sleeping spell.